welcome to today's Women Who Code podcast. My name is Jennifer Gong, and I am a director for Women Who Code's New York City network, as well as a software engineer at Remesh. Today, I'm excited to have the honor of interviewing Valerie Aguilar. Valerie is a senior software engineer at Motive. She is also a member of Techeria, Latinas in Tech, and Women Who Code, and has over 10 years of experience in a variety of engineering roles. She has a bachelor's degree in Management Information Systems from Texas Tech University. Hi, Valerie. Welcome, and how are you?
Hi, Jennifer. Thank you for having me. I'm doing well, doing good. I had my coffee, so off to a good start.
Nice. Yes, it's early there for you, right? So there you go. So just to kick off, tell us a little bit about your career journey so far and what you're doing now at Motive.
Yeah, so I went to school, as you mentioned, in Texas. And right after I graduated, I landed my first job in Dallas. So I moved to Dallas, started my career there. I worked for two different companies. It was a little under 10 years and just worked in a variety of roles. Obviously started from entry level, did a bit of SRE, like platform type work, also software engineering. And then, towards the end of my career there, one of my good friends was recruited to Silicon Valley to work for Google. And she kind of put the bug in my ear, like, hey, you should really, start interviewing over here. Obviously, everyone knows Silicon Valley. And I thought, okay, let me give it a shot. I started interviewing there, and it was just a tough process. So I finally made the decision, I'm just going to move. I'm just going to move to the Bay Area and try to get my foot in the door that way, because there's so much talent here. It was really hard to land a job from Texas, And so I moved here. The interview process was really, really tough. So I did some contract work for about 2.5 years, and then finally landed a full-time job at Chariot. I was so excited, so relieved. And then unfortunately, within a few months, they went under. So the business shut down, and I was back on the market. And that's how I landed at Motive. I've been here 3.5 years now. It's been wonderful. It's been challenging, so much growth. And yeah, I'm having a really good time.
That's great. Sounds like it was a tough decision to move to Silicon Valley. And you already mentioned a little bit about interviewing, but what were the biggest challenges in kind of making that leap and taking that move?
Oh gosh, yeah. Challenging is an understatement. I had no idea what I was in for. I would say one of the first things that I noticed was the interview process was really different than what I had experienced so far. Not to say that the interviews were easy in, my Texas experience, but in Silicon Valley, it was like an all day, multiple round interview process. And I remember my first interview, I just went in and just totally bombed. And I thought, oh my gosh, I have some work to do. It was really tough, which is kind of why I went the direction of contracting and, just tried to really interview a lot, get the practice, network. I started attending events. There are events specifically for women to it's kind of like speed dating for interviewing at companies. So I started attending those types of events, just really trying to get my feet wet and practice over time. So it worked out, but it was really tough.
Yeah, I think a lot of our members, also kind of struggle with long interview processes and imposter syndrome, when they're kind of getting rejected from job after job. Kind of what advice or what kept you motivated during all of that?
Yeah, I would say, I had really good family and friend support. When I was thinking about moving here, I remember talking to my mom and saying, hey, Mom, I'm going to move to one of the most expensive cities in the States, and I don't have a job there yet. What do you think? And she was like, go for it. And, my family was the same way, my friends, and just, having that support and knowing that I had someone to lean on. I didn't want to give up. So knowing that, that really helped me pull through. There were times, I'm not going to lie, where I questioned whether I had made a smart decision or not. So yeah, they really helped me pull through in that, and I'm glad that I stuck it out because it worked out well.
Yeah, it's so important to have that family support and encouragement, right? So we should all encourage each other to keep going. Could you tell us a little bit more about what it's like working at Motive and what the company culture is like?
Yeah, it's been really great. I think overall the company has an amazing culture. We have amazing programs. We have a fantastic director of diversity and inclusion, Kelly Gonzalez. She, from the beginning, she's really helped get me, opportunities to not just focus on engineering skills, but strengthening other skills. So she approached me with a speaking opportunity at Tequeria, and I'm very introverted, and so my first reaction was like, oh god, I can't do that. I don't want people to see me shaking. She's been fantastic. Our employee brand as well, Bree, connected me with you all, and just being involved that way. And then I would say, as far as engineering culture, it's just been a really safe space for me. I moved here with over 10 years experience, and on paper it's like, oh, she should be, really high level. And I think that just knowing that I had to kind of take a step back because my experience was different. And so at Motive, I feel it's a really safe place to ask the questions when I don't understand something, really speak up and admit, like, hey, I don't know what you're talking about. What is that technology? I don't have experience with it. People are really up to the task to explaining it and teaching. And the engineers that I work with come from very diverse backgrounds, all levels, staff down to entry level, and just being in a room with so many different people and, hearing their experiences, what they know about, and learning from that has just been fantastic.
That's great. And it's so funny that you had that reaction to speaking at your first conference. I probably would have had the exact same one. How did you just find the courage to kind of go ahead and do it? You had the encouragement of your head of diversity, but head of diversity you do.
Yeah, so really funny story. So that was the first time that I had been given an opportunity to speak, and of course, we had been planning the event for months ahead, and it was going to be an in-person event in the office. So I knew I was going to have to stand in front of a group of people and hold a microphone, and I was freaking out. So I joined Toastmasters and started really trying to strengthen my public speaking skills. So I did that, and it was really eye-opening because it seems so intimidating to do those things, but when you get there, it's like people like me who are shaking, and they don't even want to make eye contact. So that was a really fun, learning adventure. And then so I was just really trying to prepare myself, and then right, like literally maybe 2 or 3 weeks before the event was supposed to happen, COVID hit, and so they canceled it, and they said, we're gonna push it to the later in the year. And I thought, okay, I have more time, but they pushed it a few months. I think we all thought we'd be back in the office within a couple weeks. That wasn't the case. So it ended up being a virtual event. So I thought, oh my gosh, it saved me. So I guess that's one silver lining of COVID is, I kind of had that transition of doing a virtual event instead of having to stand. So we'll see. Hopefully I'll work my way up to a live in-person event. But yeah, it was a really good experience.
Nice. Yeah. Hopefully, in-person events will come back soon and you'll have that opportunity again. So you're speaking for Tequeria and doing all of these things, diversity and inclusion, I think you mentioned is a passion of yours. Why is it so important to you? And kind of tell us a little bit about the work you're doing within your company and outside related to it.
Yeah. So, at work, like I mentioned, Kelly and Bree, they do a fantastic job of getting us opportunities to get involved. We've been part of or sponsored, some conferences. The first conference I went to here was Latinas in Tech, which was really cool. Just walking into a room full of people like me. I had never worked with another Latina engineer. So just meeting so many, it was eye opening. making a presence there. I think Motive does a really good job with that. And of course, now speaking with you, these types of things are fantastic. And then, another side of that is hiring. So I'm fortunate to be part of the hiring process at Motive. And, it's really important. And I love that some of my managers have said, we have these conversations about what things do we need to look for, right? It's not just about passing or solving the coding problem in an interview. What do we need to look for to be able to hire women? And then on the other side of that, let's make sure that we're hiring good allies for women, and make sure that there aren't any flags when it comes to that, and make sure that there's just support all around. And yeah, I think outside of work, just trying to stay involved in the organizations and attend events and things like that. And yeah, I have young nieces, so just trying to set an example, hopefully for them, and they don't have to go through what I went through. I think we all probably, hope that for the younger generation. So just trying to help them along the way as well.
Oh, that's great. I love that you're trying to set that example for that younger generation and your family. And it's so important that you're involved with hiring. I mean, like that's where it starts, right? In terms of building that
Yeah.
diverse culture. I think you mentioned also before that your part of your role is mentoring junior engineers. So what does that look like for you, and when you're mentoring, and how important is it to you that you help junior engineers find those career growth opportunities within your company?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I at Motive, this has been my first opportunity to kind of mentor some of the junior entry level engineers, and just kind of touching on what we talked about earlier with diversity and imposter syndrome. It's a struggle every day. I still learn how to deal with that myself, but I also feel like sometimes I can see others kind of struggling with things that maybe I experienced before, like sitting in a room and you're just in your head the whole time, like, I want to say something, but what do I say and when do I say it? And then you don't end up saying anything and your voice isn't heard. So trying to say, like, I think so and so might have some input here, trying to help nudge a bit, and just trying to identify those areas that I know I had a really hard time with, and still do today. So really trying to kind of use my experience to help them along.
Yeah, I love that. Like you have to be so proactive, and sometimes people just need a little bit of encouragement to speak up when it's so hard for them to do themselves. So that's really
Yeah.
great. So switching gears just a little bit, what are you most passionate about outside of work?
I would say probably the most important thing for me is mental health awareness. So I have some family members that I love so much that struggle with mental health issues. And I think it's unfortunate that there's such a stigma, especially in the Latino community. Growing up, we didn't talk about it. We didn't know what resources were out there to help, guide you through. And it doesn't have to be like a severe mental illness, but people just struggling. And I try to learn more about it so that I can be a good support system for my family, and also learn how to navigate those waters. And then also just make sure that I'm taking care of myself. Self-care, it's really important to me. I hope someday there's not such a stigma around talking about it, and the system improves. There's a lot of work to do there. And yeah, I would say on a lighter note, I love traveling. I travel when I can. It's been a while, unfortunately, but yeah, I love to travel. I wish everybody could experience, international travel. And I also have a Yorkie named Zoe, and I'm obsessed with her. She's a handful and keeps me busy. But yeah, uh,
Oh, that's so nice. Yeah, and mental health, especially now during times of COVID, it's come up quite a lot, and so it's
yeah.
very important to be aware and to be supportive in that space. Um, any fun trips planned for the year now that we're kind of at the tail end of pandemic, hopefully?
Yeah, no, I know. I can't wait. um, Nothing official yet, but I do have something that I've been trying to slowly plan. I really want to go to Antarctica. It's on my bucket list, you know. So hopefully maybe not this year, but early next year, we'll see.
Oh, fun. Yeah, Antarctica's on my bucket list too. Should be a
Oh,
fun trip for you.
yeah, awesome. Maybe we can trade notes.
Absolutely. And so one final question for you, which we end all of our podcasts on, any pro tips or advice that you have for women in tech?
Yeah, I would say be persistent. I think it's challenging for everybody, and if it's something that you really want to do, don't give up. You know, interview a lot to get the practice, you know, strengthen those interviewing skills. Network. There's so many groups that I didn't know about until I moved here, like Women Who Code, Tequeria, Latinas in Tech, all of these groups that are just really good communities for support, you know, offering advice. There's a lot of practice that you can do with these groups. I would just say, yeah, don't give up. And it's really important to help each other out. And I think once you do get to a point where you're deciding, you know, which company you want to work for, make sure that you find a company that's investing in your future, that's investing in your growth. You know, ask those questions in the interview process. You know, how often am I going to discuss my career path with my manager? What do you have in place so that I know the areas I need to grow in and how I need to get there and what my next steps are? I think that's really important. You know, I'm fortunate at Motive to have that kind of support. We talk about it weekly. I think that's one of the biggest things for me is just knowing where I want to go and how to get there. So I think hopefully everybody can have that.
Yeah, that's definitely really important. So many companies don't have their career paths lined out, and to kind of know where you are on that journey is really important. So great advice. Well, that's all I have for you. But thanks so much, Valerie. It was really fun speaking with you today.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. And, so I enjoyed it so much. Thank you for everything you do with Women Who Code. I think it's so important. And yeah, I had a really good time.
Awesome.